She swore it meant nothing, but watching my wife with another man shattered every piece of me. The night I came home early changed everything, and what followed was a storm of lies, guilt, and the kind of revenge that doesn't burn, it freezes you cold. When I look back now, I realize how peaceful my life used to be: calm mornings, slow coffee, and the sound of Claire's laughter drifting from the kitchen. I thought I had everything a man could ask for. Love, trust, and a wife who made every dull day feel like summer. "Ethan," she used to call from the stove, her voice light and teasing. "You're going to be late again. Meetings don't start themselves, you know." "And neither does breakfast," I'd reply, kissing her cheek as she flipped pancakes. Those mornings were small pieces of heaven. Simple. Safe. I believed in us, in the way she looked at me like I was enough. I first met Claire 5 years ago at a coffee shop near my office. She was sitting by the window, lost in her laptop, blonde hair tied up, eyes focused. I spilled my coffee that day, right on her notebook. She laughed instead of yelling. "Guess that's one way to start a conversation," she said. I offered to buy her another drink. She said yes. That yes changed everything. Our first few months were magic. We talked about everything: music, dreams, fears, stupid things like whether pineapple belonged on pizza. She worked hard, ambitious, already climbing the finance ladder. I admired that. She admired how I never stopped believing in people. 3 years of marriage later, I thought we were steady, not perfect, but real. We had our small fights about dishes or late nights, but nothing serious. I told myself that every marriage had cracks. Ours just made the light shine through. One evening, a few months ago, we went out to dinner with her colleagues. That's when I first met Richard Hale, her boss. He was in his early 60s, balding, with a smug sort of charm that older men in power tend to carry. His wife, Margaret, sat beside him, quiet and graceful, her smile polite but distant. "So this is the famous husband," Richard said, offering his hand. His grip was firm, his gaze sharper than I liked. "You're a lucky man, Ethan. Claire is one of the brightest, and most beautiful, people in the company." Claire blushed. I smiled out of politeness, but something about the way he said "beautiful" lingered. The way his eyes stayed on her a little too long. "She's everything I could have asked for," I said, my hand tightening around hers under the table. He laughed. "I bet she keeps you on your toes." "She does," I replied, though I couldn't shake the strange discomfort twisting in my chest. Later that night, as we drove home, I brought it up. "Your boss seems friendly." She laughed. "He's harmless, Ethan. Just an old man who talks too much. Still, the way he looked at you." She cut me off gently. "You're jealous of a 60-year-old? "Not jealous," I said. "Just cautious." She touched my arm. "You don't have to be. You trust me, right?" I nodded, because that's what a good husband does. "Of course I do." She smiled, leaned her head on my shoulder, and whispered, "Then stop worrying." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But that night, lying in bed, I couldn't sleep. Her phone buzzed twice on the nightstand. She was already asleep, her face calm, soft. I didn't check the messages. I told myself trust mattered more than curiosity. I rolled over, stared at the ceiling, and forced myself to let it go. Back then, I thought I was just being paranoid. Just a man overthinking a harmless compliment. But sometimes your gut knows before your heart does. If I had listened to mine that night, maybe I could have saved myself the heartbreak that was coming. Maybe I could have seen the cracks forming beneath the laughter, the lies hiding behind her smile. Because love, I've learned, doesn't disappear in a moment. It rots slowly, quietly, under the weight of secrets you choose not to see. And as I watched her sleep beside me, peaceful and innocent, I whispered to myself the lie I still wanted to believe. I know my wife. But deep down, I didn't. I thought I did. I was wrong. The conference ended 2 hours earlier than expected. I remember smiling, thinking, she's going to love this surprise. I even stopped by a wine shop on the way, grabbed her favorite red, the one she said tasted like happy memories. I hummed the whole drive home. When I parked, I noticed her car already there. Perfect, I muttered, stepping out. She's home early too. The front door was unlocked. Odd. Claire was always careful about that. As I walked in, the house was dim, only a few lamps on. Then I heard it, laughter, soft and muffled. Hers. Claire. I called out, half smiling. No answer. I set the wine on the counter, my keys clinking against the granite. That's when I heard something else, a sound I couldn't mistake. A moan. My heart stuttered. I froze. Claire. I tried again, my voice lower this time. Still nothing. The noises grew clearer as I moved toward the living room. My footsteps slowed, like my body already knew what my mind refused to accept. Then I saw her. She was lying on the couch, completely naked, her head tilted back, eyes half open. Between her legs, Richard. His face buried where no man but me should have been. For a second, I couldn't breathe. The world blurred, sound vanished, and everything inside me just stopped. Claire. I shouted. She jerked up, gasping, hands flying to cover herself. Richard stumbled, nearly tripping over his pants. Ethan, she cried, voice slurred. Wait, this isn't. Don't, I snapped, my voice shaking. Don't you dare say it's not what it looks like. She tried to stand but was too drunk, her legs wobbling. I'm sorry, I didn't mean, he just. Just what? I yelled. He just fell into you. Richard lifted his hands. Ethan, calm down. Shut up, I growled. Don't you speak to me. He froze. I could see fear flicker behind his arrogance. I turned back to Claire, my heart hammering. Tell me, I said quietly, my voice breaking. Tell me this isn't real. Tears welled in her eyes. I was drunk. I didn't, he started. You were awake, I interrupted. You were moaning, Claire. She covered her face and sobbed. Please, just listen. Listen? I stepped closer, trembling. I heard enough. Richard zipped his pants, muttering, I think I should leave. Yeah, I spat. You think? He grabbed his jacket, mumbling something to Claire, but I didn't care. I just wanted him gone. When the door closed behind him, silence filled the room, heavy, choking. I stared at her, shaking my head. Why? She looked up, mascara streaked, hair tangled, body trembling. I don't know, she whispered. It just happened. It doesn't just happen, Claire. I shouted. You don't accidentally sleep with your boss. She covered her ears. Please stop yelling. I can't think. I laughed bitterly. You had no trouble thinking when he was on top of you. She winced, tears falling harder. Ethan, I swear I didn't want this. I stared at her, the woman I loved, the woman who once said forever. She looked small, broken, ashamed. But none of it mattered. You destroyed everything, I whispered. Please, she begged. Please don't leave. I picked up my coat, my hands trembling. My voice came out flat. Don't follow me. She tried to stand. Ethan, wait. But I was already at the door. My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear her cry my name. As I stepped outside, the night air hit me like a slap. Cold. Real. Final. The wine bottle was still on the counter. The surprise that never made it to the table. And behind that door, the life I thought I had, gone in a single, disgusting moment. I sat in my car for what felt like hours, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. My chest ached, my breathing uneven. My mind kept replaying the scene, her body, his hands, the way she looked at me, frozen between guilt and fear. God, what did I just see? I whispered to myself. That can't be real. But it was. Every image was burned into my brain. The sound, the smell of wine, the look in her eyes when I caught her, none of it would fade. I slammed my fist against the steering wheel. Why, Claire? Why? I started the engine but didn't know where to go. Home wasn't home anymore. The world outside looked the same, streetlights glowing, people walking, but everything in me had collapsed. I just drove. No direction, no thought, just movement. After what felt like forever, I ended up in front of Mark's apartment. He was my best friend since college, the only person I could trust not to judge me. I called him. "Ethan?" His voice was half asleep. "It's midnight. You okay?" "No," I said. "Can I come in?" "Yeah, of course." "You sound bad." When he opened the door, I barely said a word. I just walked past him and sank onto the couch. He stared at me for a moment, then sat beside me. "What happened?" he asked softly. I rubbed my face with both hands. "Claire. I caught her." He frowned. "Caught her doing what?" I looked at him, my eyes burning. "With him. Her boss." Mark froze, his jaw tightening. "You're kidding." "I wish I was." He stayed silent for a few seconds, then said quietly, "Tell me exactly what happened." So I did. Every ugly detail. My voice cracked halfway through, but I forced myself to keep talking. When I finished, the room was silent except for my breathing. He leaned back, shaking his head. "Jesus, Ethan. You can't unsee that, man." "I know." My voice trembled. It's like my brain keeps looping it. Every time I blink, I see them. Mark sighed. "Do you think she'll try to talk to you?" "She already did." I walked out. I couldn't. I just couldn't stay there. "Good," he said firmly. "You needed to leave." I stared at the floor. But what now? What do I even do? He looked at me for a long moment. "You don't decide tonight. You just breathe. 1 hour at a time." I nodded, but my throat felt tight. I wanted to scream, cry, hit something, anything. Instead, I just sat there in silence, staring at the dark window. Mark offered me a blanket. "Crash here, man. Don't go back tonight." I mumbled a thank you and lay down on the couch, still wearing my jacket. My mind wouldn't stop spinning. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them, her hand on his shoulder, his face buried where I should have been, her moaning my name like it was his. I turned onto my side, pressing my face into the pillow, trying to block it out. Then my phone buzzed on the table. Once. Twice. Then again. I grabbed it. 20 missed calls. All from her. When I walked in that morning, the house smelled like stale wine and shame. Claire was curled on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, her mascara streaked down to her chin. She looked up, voice cracking. "You came back." "Yeah," I said, my throat dry. "Didn't plan to." She stood slowly, trembling. "Please, just listen." He forced himself on me. I stared at her. "Forced? You're saying he assaulted you?" Tears spilled down her face. "Yes. I didn't want it, Eric. I swear." I crossed my arms. "Claire, I saw you. You were into it." Her eyes widened. "No, I was scared." I froze. "You froze?" I cut her off, anger bleeding through my voice. Because it didn't look like fear. It looked like passion. She sobbed louder. "I was drunk. I didn't even know what I was doing." I clenched my jaw. "You just said he forced you. Now you're saying you didn't know what was happening. Which is it?" "I don't know," she screamed. "I'm trying to remember. Everything's blurry." I stared at the floor, my mind a war zone. The image of her moaning under him burned behind my eyelids. "You can't not remember something like that." She shook her head frantically. "He kissed me," I pushed him away, but then he. "Stop." My voice was low, flat. "You don't need to fill in the blanks. I already saw enough." She collapsed onto the couch again, hiding her face. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I love you." "Don't," I said sharply. "Don't use that word right now." She sniffled. "Please, I'm telling the truth." Then why do your stories keep changing? I asked. Was it assault? A mistake? Or just what you wanted in the moment? She stared at me, mouth trembling. I don't know how to explain it. Try harder, I said. Because right now, you sound like someone desperate to rewrite what I saw. She whispered, I'm scared you'll leave me. I already did, I said quietly. At least the part of me that trusted you. The room fell silent except for her shaky breathing. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by someone I couldn't recognize. I rubbed my face. Go sleep downstairs. She looked up in disbelief. You're serious? Yeah. I can't even look at you right now. She stood, wiping tears. Eric, please. Stop talking, I said. Just, stop. Her footsteps faded down the stairs, followed by the creak of the guest room door. I sat there for a long time, staring at nothing, my chest hollow. For the first time in 3 years, the house didn't feel like home. It felt like a crime scene, one where love had been murdered, and I was still standing over the body, unsure if I should call for help or bury it myself. The following days felt like living inside a slow-motion nightmare. Every sound in the house reminded me of her, the clink of dishes, the hum of her perfume, but I refused to speak first. On the third morning, she broke the silence. Can we talk? I didn't look up from my coffee. About what? The weather? Or your affair? Her eyes glistened. It wasn't an affair. It was a mistake. I scoffed. A mistake that lasted how long, Claire? She bit her lip. It wasn't long. How long? I demanded. She hesitated. A few weeks. I laughed bitterly. Weeks. That's not a mistake, that's a decision. She started crying again. I'm sorry, Eric. I don't even know how it happened. Sure you do, I said. You texted him, met him, let him in our house. It doesn't just happen. She shook her head. You weren't around. You were so focused on work, and Don't, I snapped. Don't blame me for you spreading your legs for your boss. She flinched like I'd hit her. That's not fair. No, Claire. What's not fair is watching the person I love turn into a liar and still expecting sympathy. She covered her face, sobbing. Please, I'll quit my job. I'll block him. I'll do anything. Just don't hate me. I stared at her. Too late. She whispered, you don't mean that. I mean every word, I said, my tone calm but final. The next evening, I found her phone buzzing on the counter. For a second, I didn't want to look. But curiosity and pain are twin devils, they feed off each other. I opened her messages. Richard, can't stop thinking about you. Claire, don't text me. He's home. Richard, you said you missed me. Claire, I do. Just not now. My chest tightened. The timestamps went back months, dinners, weekends, office trips. I scrolled until I couldn't anymore. When she walked in, I was sitting there with her phone in my hand. Eric, she whispered, pale. You went through my phone? Yeah, I said. And guess what I found? Proof. Her lips trembled. Please don't read those. They don't mean anything now. They meant something when you sent them, I said. How many times, Claire? 5? 10? Or did you lose count? She broke down. I was stupid, okay? He made me feel seen. I thought it was harmless at first. Harmless? I slammed the phone down. You destroyed us. She sank to her knees. I'll do anything, Eric. Therapy, confession, anything. Just don't give up on me. I stared at her, this shattered version of the woman I married, and felt nothing but coldness. You gave up first. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't touch me. That night, I slept in the guest room. She cried until dawn. By sunrise, I realized something terrifying, the love I once had for her wasn't dying. It was already dead. A week passed in silence, the kind that felt heavy enough to choke on. Claire tried to talk every morning, but I'd already stopped listening. My anger had burned itself out, leaving behind only quiet emptiness. One afternoon, I drove to Richard's neighborhood. I wasn't sure why, maybe to confront him, maybe to end it all in some final outburst. Instead, I saw her, Margaret Hale, his wife, standing in her garden, trimming roses. I parked, got out, and walked toward her. "Mrs. Hale?" She looked up, surprised. "Yes?" "I'm Eric," I said. "Claire's husband." Her expression shifted instantly. "Ah. I thought this might happen someday. Can we talk?" I asked quietly. She nodded, motioning toward the porch. "You're not the first to show up here angry." I sat down across from her. "You knew?" Margaret sighed. "I suspected. Richard's not exactly subtle. Different perfumes on his shirts, secret dinners, lies about late meetings." I clenched my jaw. It was my wife this time. She met my eyes calmly. "I'm sorry, truly. But I'm not surprised. Do you want to know what I saw?" I asked. She shook her head. "No. I've seen enough of my own versions." For a moment, we just sat there, two strangers bound by betrayal. "I told myself I'd confront him," she said, her voice steady. "But after years of it, you stop reacting. You just detach." I leaned forward. "How do you live with that?" She gave a sad smile. "By realizing it's not my shame to carry." Her words sank deep. For the first time, I felt something like release. "Before leaving," I said, "I just wanted you to know the truth." "I already did," she said softly. "But thank you for confirming it." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything: Claire's tears, Richard's smug face, Margaret's calm acceptance. Somewhere between rage and exhaustion, I felt something shift. 2 days later, the universe delivered what I couldn't. At work, Claire burst through the door, her face white as paper. "Eric," she gasped. "It's all over the office." "What is?" "Someone leaked photos from that night." My stomach dropped. "What photos?" "Security camera footage," she said, shaking. "Someone hacked into Richard's building system. Everyone's seen it." I blinked, stunned. "You think I did that?" She hesitated. "Did you?" "No," I said. "But maybe karma did." She covered her face, sobbing. "I lost my job, Eric. They fired me this morning." "Richard?" I asked. "Gone," she whispered. "He's finished. His wife's leaving him. The company's cutting ties." I nodded slowly. "Guess it was only a matter of time." She stared at me. "Are you happy now?" I met her gaze. "No. I'm just empty." She reached out, but I stepped back. "You wanted forgiveness," I said. "I wanted peace. I guess we both got nothing." That night, as she packed her things, I realized I never needed revenge. Fate had handled that for me, and it still didn't heal a damn thing. For weeks, Claire tried everything. She cooked my favorite meals, left handwritten notes by the coffee maker, even played my favorite songs in the background like nothing had changed. But everything had. One night, she stood by the stove, eyes red. "I made lasagna," she said softly. "I'm not hungry." "You haven't eaten all day." I shrugged. "Guess I lost my appetite 3 weeks ago." Her lip trembled. "Please don't talk like that. I'm just being honest." She turned off the burner, wiping her eyes. "Ethan, I'm trying. Doesn't that count for something?" "It used to," I muttered. She walked closer, her voice breaking. "Can we start over?" I looked at her, the same woman who once made my world feel safe. "You ended us the night you chose him." Her breath caught. "It wasn't a choice." "It was," I said sharply. "You said yes to every text, every drink, every lie. That's a choice." She covered her face and sobbed. The sound no longer broke me, it just echoed through the hollow space between us. That night, I sat on the porch, scrolling aimlessly through my phone until Rachel's message popped up, "Rough day?" I hesitated, then replied, "Every day feels like that now." We started talking, small things at first, work updates, stupid memes, shared silence. She didn't judge, didn't pry. Just listened. One evening after work, Rachel said, "You sound tired, Ethan." I am. Still with her? Physically, yeah. Mentally. I left a while ago. Then why stay? I didn't answer right away. Because I'm still trying to figure out when love became habit. She sighed. Sometimes love doesn't die. It just runs out of reasons. Her words lingered long after I hung up. That night, I found Claire sitting on the couch, holding one of her letters. "I wrote this for you," she whispered. "I don't want to read it. It's not begging. It's just me saying sorry." "I've heard enough apologies," I said. She looked up. "Do you still love me?" I paused. "I love who you were. But that person doesn't exist anymore." Her tears spilled freely. "Please don't give up on us." I stood there, staring at the woman I used to wake up beside, the one who'd once felt like home. "I already did," I said quietly. She covered her mouth, whispering my name like a prayer that went unanswered. That night, as she cried herself to sleep, I realized something cruelly simple: love doesn't always end in hate. Sometimes it just turns to ash. The days bled together, quiet, colorless, heavy. Claire barely left the house. Job gone. Friends vanished. The woman who once filled rooms with laughter now sat in silence, staring at her phone like it held her past life. One night, she broke it. "Ethan, can we talk?" I sighed. "About what?" "About everything." I nodded reluctantly. "Go ahead." She looked small, fragile. "I messed up. I know that. But it wasn't just him." I frowned. "What do you mean?" Her voice trembled. "I was lonely. You stopped seeing me, Ethan." I blinked, taken aback. "I stopped seeing you?" "Claire, I worked, I cooked, I planned trips." "Yes, you did things," she cut in. "But you stopped feeling things. You were there, but not really." Her words hit like a slow punch. "So your answer was another man?" "I'm not excusing it," she said. "I'm just saying I was drowning, and he noticed." I laughed bitterly. "Yeah, he noticed plenty." She closed her eyes. "I know I destroyed you. But I destroyed myself too." I leaned back, exhausted. "You wanted to be seen. I wanted to be enough. We both failed." She whispered, "So what now?" "I don't know," I said. "Maybe we stop pretending this can be fixed." She reached out. "I still love you." "Then why does it feel like love is the heaviest thing in this house?" She broke down again, sobbing into her hands. "I don't know who I am without you." I looked at her, hair messy, eyes hollow, and realized I didn't know who I was with her anymore. Later that night, I lay awake listening to the sound of her crying in the next room. Each sob chipped away at what little resentment I had left, leaving only sadness. In the morning, she whispered, "I'm sorry, Ethan." "I know. Do you forgive me?" I stared at the ceiling. "I don't think forgiveness works like that. It's not a switch." She nodded slowly. "Then I'll wait." But we both knew waiting wouldn't change anything. That week, Richard's wife filed for divorce. The news spread fast. Claire's phone buzzed non-stop, messages, gossip, pity. She finally turned it off and tossed it aside. "I deserve this," she murmured. "Maybe," I said quietly. "But I don't." When I looked at her that night, I saw not a villain, but a broken mirror, both of us cracked by choices we couldn't undo. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. Just grief for what we used to be. 3 months later, the house felt like a museum of ghosts. Every room held a version of us, laughing, fighting, pretending. I packed my suitcase in silence. Claire stood in the doorway. "You're really leaving?" I nodded. "It's time." Where will you go? Somewhere quiet, I said. Somewhere that doesn't sound like you. She bit her lip. You can't even say goodbye properly, can you? I looked at her, pale, tired, smaller than I remembered. Goodbye stopped meaning anything the night we stopped trusting each other. She stepped closer. I wrote something, she whispered, holding an envelope. I don't want. It's the last one. I promise. I took it, staring at her handwriting. She looked down, voice shaking. I wish I could undo everything. So do I. I still love you, she said softly. I nodded. Then love me enough to let me go. Her tears fell silently. You'll find someone better. I sighed. I don't want better. I just want peace. She turned away, and for once, I didn't stop her. After she left the room, I walked through the house one last time, the kitchen where we danced barefoot, the living room where I found her betrayal, the bed where dreams turned to lies. I sat by the fireplace, the letter still in my hand. I could have read it. Maybe it had answers, maybe apologies. But I didn't need either. I struck a match, watching the paper catch fire. The flames curled the words into ash, the same way our love had burned out, quietly, completely. Rachel texted later that night, "You okay?" "Getting there," I replied. "You deserve peace," she wrote. For the first time in months, I believed it. The next morning, I loaded the last box into my car. Claire stood by the door, arms crossed, tears streaking down her face. "Take care of yourself," I said. "You too," she whispered. "I hope you find what you're looking for." "I already did," I said. "It's freedom." As I drove away, the house disappeared in the rearview mirror, shrinking until it was just a blur. I didn't feel rage or heartbreak, just relief. Forgiveness, I realized, wasn't about freeing her. It was about freeing myself. And for the first time, I finally did. When I heard about Richard's health collapsing, I didn't feel triumph, just an eerie stillness. Word spread fast, his wife had filed for divorce and taken half of everything. Karma, I thought, has its own rhythm. One evening, Mark called. "You heard about Richard?" he asked. "Yeah," I said quietly. "Guess life evened the score." "Claire moved back to her parents' place," he continued. "She's trying to get her life together." I paused. "Good for her," I murmured. My voice didn't shake anymore. Days turned into weeks, and for the first time in a long while, mornings didn't feel heavy. I started sleeping through the night, started eating again, started breathing without the taste of betrayal in my mouth. Rachel noticed it first. She leaned over her coffee, watching me with a soft smile. "You look lighter," she said. I chuckled. "Maybe I finally am." "You've changed," she said gently. "Not broken, just free." I swirled my cup, watching the ripples. "I used to think revenge meant destruction," I said. "Now I think it's peace." She tilted her head. "Peace isn't easy." "No," I replied, "but it's quiet. And quiet is something I've missed." We sat in silence for a while, the hum of the cafe filling the spaces where pain used to live. The world outside was moving again, laughter, footsteps, life, and for once, I didn't feel left behind. When Rachel left, I stayed behind, watching the sunset fade through the glass. My reflection looked unfamiliar, not the man who begged for answers, not the man shattered by lies, but someone learning to let go. I whispered to myself, sometimes revenge isn't fire. The words felt heavy, yet right. It's walking away without burning with it. As I stepped outside, a soft breeze brushed against my face. I didn't look back. There was nothing there for me anymore, no ghosts, no ashes, just lessons carved deep into my chest. I walked toward the quiet, carrying nothing but peace.